But here we go, we're getting into our first game and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkion. And we have our South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Talon Esports. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Bleed Esports. It is NightMare. Here we go. And I bring this up all the time. NightMare, he is a beast in a PvT and PvP. Has some of the best PvT in the world. NightMare, he's insane against Terran players and against Protosses. Against Zerg, he has been improving. He has been improving more and more often nowadays. We're seeing NightMare bring down Solar. We're seeing NightMare bring down Dark as well. NightMare, he's been able to pop off more and more frequently as of late. I would still not say he's the favorite player, but there's something about NightMare joining Bleed Esports. I mean, I'm sure it feels good finally joining a new team, being motivated, getting the support as well. Like, I'm sure NightMare has a lot of motivation coming into these past couple of months. We've even been seeing him competing in our tournaments as well. He's this week's Sparkling Tuna. True. Is this week's Sparkling Tuna. But it's all about consistency and about whether or not he can get a handle on the PvZ and get a handle on Dark. The problem is that you can like work on improving your PvZ and like improve your matchup, but the reality is that you don't get practice against Dark unless you play against Dark, right? Like, he's not a standard Zerg player. Dark is arguably the most aggressive Zerg player out there, especially at this level of play. Like Dark, he's more chaotic than Serral, he's more chaotic than Raynor as well. Like, Dark is just hyper aggressive and more than willing to embrace these all-ins. We saw that earlier today. If you were here earlier today, we casted Dark against Estrella in ESL Open Cup Americas. We saw Dark be very chaotic in his ZvPs. Also did compete against Geralt. So we'll see how we open things up as Dark does expand at the unnatural location. Another big factor that I'm sure NightMare remembers is that Dark is willing to go for the gold as a natural base. Didn't go for it this time, but is always a threat. As a bit of like a setup or a taste for what's to come. Against Estrella earlier today, Dark 12 pulled. He went for a 12 pull proxy hatch game 1, and game 2 Dark went for a Lin Queen Nidus all in. Off of like 2 base saturation. So again, just hyper aggression out of Dark, at least earlier today. We'll see how he does engage NightMare. So now Ling's move out across the map. Oh, we get a probe kill. First probe goes down. And can we get a second worker? Oh, not quite. One probe is still good enough. Ling Scout is denied, as I believe Dark does not get eyes on the tech. Doesn't get eyes on the Stargate. Adept slips in. Doesn't get much done. Trading against Lings, not getting any workers. Dark does defend. And we're going for a Void Ray opener. Okay, you have my attention. Is going to be a Void Ray opener out of NightMare. Now, with a Void Ray opener, the goal here is to shut down the Overlord. You shut down the Overlords and you deny vision, deny scouting. Now, we saw against Miyamika earlier in this tournament, NightMare did open up Void Ray into Skytoss. He rushed into Tempest production and went into a second Stargate, Fleet Beacon, Tempest into a third base. We'll see what NightMare has in store for us this time. Could just be a Void Ray into Twilight Council, into Glaive at Depths. Could be Skytoss, could be Mass Void Ray, could be Fast Blink. It could be a third and just a Forge in the Twilight Council into a standard game. That's the scary thing about Void Ray openers, is it could be anything. NightMare does have options. We'll see what he does embrace. For now, is expanding, taking his third at least. Moving out across the map, looking for another Overlord. Does come across the Queens. We'll have to back off. Void Ray pulls back, Adepts a shade into the third base. Lings were lying in wait. And good target fire, we can focus on the first Adept. And we do manage to get two drone kills. Can we get a third? Ooh, barely not. 2 drones go down. And show us our tech of choice. There we go. Twilight Council and a Forge after the third base. Third base is almost done. This looks like a more standard follow-up. Meanwhile, that is a faster lair. Okay, interesting. Not the fastest lair that we've seen. This is around a 4-minute 40 lair timing. Around 440. We go. Roach Warren is on the way. Oracle's trying to keep up. And it looks like Dark may just embrace this and go into Roach Ravager. There's no Overlord speed. There's no indication here of like a German Taxi or a 3-base all-in. Not yet. Eva Chamber's on the way for upgrades. We're settling in. We are going to be settling in. Likewise, NightMare working towards a standard macro game as well. Into the mid game. Working towards the mid game. There is a bit of a gateway explosion. I believe we have a 6-gate setup here from NightMare. Yeah, it is going to be 6 gateways here from our Protoss player. Is going to be enough to be active on the map. And there's further tech on the way. Going to be a Robo, potentially into a Bay, into Colossus production, into a 4th base. And we're calming things down. Again, we're loading into Alkiona. This is one of the most macro-oriented maps in the map pool. We often see 4, 5, 6 bases here, cutting the map in half. Going for longer games. Infestation bits on the way here for Dark. Should be for Hive Tech. And there's the Hydrogen. We're getting ready for Hydra Lurker Viper. The first sign of Lurker Tech on the way. So it looks like Dark has identified that NightMare is being more tech heavy and macroing. 4th base, Robo, soon to be additional gases taken as well. So this is a good read of the situation here from Dark to recognize it's safe to tech up in such a way. Stalkers do move out, but Dark does have a standing army. Can he save the base? He's in position. Lings, they dive in. Stasis Trap does catch a handful of Lings, 3 Lings. They do get caught. But Dark is keeping up. And more Roaches are amassing. The base did take some volleys. And we can force this back. Dark even punishing this here, focusing on Stalkers. Stalkers do go down. Meanwhile, there's that Bay that we spoke about. 2nd Robo, so it's going to be double Colossus production out of Dark. Now, the scary thing for... Sorry, out of NightMare. The scary thing for NightMare, though, is that Dark is already working towards his Hive. Lurker Den is on the way. Hive should be on the horizon here to get ready for Viper Tech as well. Taking the gold base. Alright, Dark is really just embracing and taking up very quickly here. In towards that Hive Tech. I mean, as much as I say that, the Hive has yet to begin. we should be starting the Hive soon. Should be starting. Should be on the way already. It's not, but it should be. There we go. Hive is a little bit delayed. So that means that the Lurker Den is going to be a little bit early. Basically, you want the Lurker Den lined up with your Hive so you can start up the upgrades as quickly as possible. The Lurker upgrade specifically. But regardless, Dark is able to keep up. Still maintaining that 4th, or that gold, 5th even. Colossus are amassing. And NightMare is being active, but he's not really looking to commit or try to go all in or anything like that. Now, the advantage for NightMare is that he's up against Lair Tech Lurkers. Lurkers are morphing in, but the Hive is not yet done, so these Lurkers are not ideal. Roach is already going to be going down. Better fight here for NightMare. Shaves off a lot of Roaches. Lurkers getting in position. Lings are amassing as well. We're getting ready for a surround. Where's that blink? We'll be forced back towards the gold. Lurkers are in position. And the gold base is going to fall. Not a bad pickup. But Dark, he expanded that elsewhere. Further back. Colossus are coming in. And Dark, do we set up the surround? Okay, so far not. We're just keeping up with the army. We're holding the line. Likewise, we see NightMare reinforcing. Being hyper aggressive with this first 2 Colossus. Do we have any Vipers? The answer is no. No Vipers yet. So blink out of NightMare. Takes down a Lurker. Rotating around. On 4 bases. Fleet beacons on the way. We're getting ready for Sky Toss. We're getting ready for the late game. Not a bad engage here out of Dark, but again, the Lurkers, they're not really taking part. Ooh, we bleed out a lot of Hydras. Hydras going down. Lurker range still not quite done. Again, without it, you can see that NightMare can kind of bully the army. Getting a lot of value here out of the Colossus. There we go, Lurker range finally kicking in. As we start to step forward, big overextension. Colossus goes down. Very clutch pick off there out of Dark. Behind this is Saturation's looking solid. It's on 80 workers. Building another wave of workers as well. Chargelos diving in. 3 lurkers going to be going down. NightMare does push into the base. And not enough in position. The base is under fire. Meanwhile, Dark coming in for a surround. Does force back the army. Still only 1 Colossus. Not reinforced. Not made anymore. NightMare barely keeping up, barely trading with the army. Mothership is on the way. No second Stargate. No Skytoss yet. The Rumbai gets forced back. We're running out of Stalkers, running out of Colossus. Again, still down to 1. And Dark is holding. And now those upgrades are kicking in. Adaptive Talents on the way, +3. 6th base as well. And I would have loved to have seen additional Stargates already and start working towards carriers. Like, NightMare has an economy. Like, he has a bank to work with. 2,000 gas. We got the money, but we have the money for it, but no. Instead, we're going for a Templar Archives, working towards... There we go. Now we get the Stargates. But these do feel late. And as the aggression subsides, Dark goes for a big counterattack. The base is going to be going down. There's no saving this Nexus. NightMare racing back home. The base goes down. 12 probes, and we can keep pushing. Oh, there's the recall. Do you recall the army trying to catch out Dark? Yeah, Dark will bleed out all these lurkers. The Hydras will try to squeeze away. Try to squeeze out of there. At the same time, Dark going for a big counterattack. Remember, recall's on cooldown, at least the Mothership recall. And lurkers are pushing in. Not a bad position. Storm is not quite done. And pushing into these lurkers is going to be brutal. High Templar are going down. Oh, we pick off 2 High Templar. And where's the splash damage? Where's the Colossus? It's in the back line. The Mothership goes down, and we get caught out of position. Yeah, pushing these lurkers is just not going to happen. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, NightMare, he just, once he lost his Colossus, he never did decide to rebuild or reinvest into Colossus. Didn't have any splash damage. Storm wasn't done, so he had no Storms available for the final fight either. And Dark able to go for the kill as NightMare was mid-transition. Again, no Colossus, no Storm, no carriers either. Like, we were in a really awkward place there for NightMare. And it did feel like he was tunnel visioning a little bit too much. Like, NightMare, his economy was on point, right? He had a massive bank, he had plenty of bases, his economy was ideal. But his tech and his production was lacking there, and that's where NightMare was vulnerable. Did fall apart a little bit towards the end. Did have a solid mid-game. Like, his mid-game was good. Able to trade well against the initial lurkers and the initial Roach Hydra. But it was the next step there that was a little bit lacking from NightMare, and Dark took advantage of it. GG. GG, well played. Dark does take a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Getting into game 2, gonna be getting into Ghost River. One of the smaller maps in the map pool, and I'm ready for the aggression. You know, here in game 1, we got to, you know, sink our teeth into a longer macro game. We're gonna build up towards 5-6 bases from both sides. That's all well and good. But I'm here for something shorter. I'm here for the Chaos Map. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Talon Esports. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss, representing Bleed Esports. It is NightMare. Here we go. We go. Again, Ghost River known for its short rush distance by ground, a very congested map, very little room to breathe, very little room to really have any breathing room here on this map. Doesn't take long at all to go from one natural to the other. As a result, we've seen a lot of 3-base play from both sides. We've seen a lot of 3-base 8-gate all-ins from the side of Protoss, likewise 3-base Roach Ravager, Queen Walks or German Taxis from the side of Zerg. So we'll see if we embrace the aggression or if we go for a longer macro game once again. Here we go. Este rowdy. You're so rowdy, Pat. Calm down. Calm down. NightMare just going for the gate expand into Cybercore. Standard opener here out of our Protoss player. Nothing crazy early on. No 2-gate opener or a hidden tech. Proxy even. Nothing crazy to begin with. Likewise, Dark Force to take the unnatural natural as well. As we are steadily into Ghost River. And I'm curious as to what we embrace. Again, I'm so used to casting Hero on this map, and Hero is very fond of 3-base all-ins, especially if you set up a proxy location here in the center of the map. We have seen NightMare embrace that from time to time. I don't know if NightMare is willing to do that against Dark specifically. And we'll see. As for now, it's a Stargate. Again, based on the pylon location, it is going to be a Stargate opener. Should be for Oracles to zoom across the map as quickly as possible. Likewise, Dark sneaking out with his Lings does avoid the probe, and we'll be able to slip into the bases to get some scouting to get a read on what the Protoss is up to. We saw this last game get 1 probe kill as well, so there's potential for damage. There is potential as the pylon did scout the Lings. Unfortunate for Dark, he does have to pull back. Adepts zoning him away. Stargate is done, and it is going to be the Oracle opener. As a reminder, last game it was a Void Ray opener, which is why NightMare was barely harassing with Oracles, because we didn't really have many Oracles to harass. This time we will. This time the Queen defense of Dark is going to be put to the test. It's something that he's known for. He has some of the best Queen defense out there in the world. We'll see if NightMare can get some damage done. Now Lings are moving out. They threaten the third. Oracle's being chronoed. The Oracle does move out. We have the second Oracle on the way. It looks to be a triple Oracle opener into a third base. I think looking as it should here, and that is a fast Roach Warren. Okay, 3-minute 50 Roach Warren timing. And here come the Lings! Oh my god. They go for the dive, they get a probe, and they will delay the expansion. Third base now going to be on the way. But yeah, you do not throw down a fast Roach Warren at this timing against a Stargate opener. Like, there's no reason to, right? There's no reason to have a Roach Warren this early on. So we'll see when we cut workers and how aggressive we want to be. Oracles, they move out across the map. Confirmed lack of saturation so far at the third. There we go. Roaches are already in production. Lings are getting ready. And are we just going to be committing here? This feels very early on here for Dark. Oracle's rotating around. Yeah, the Queens, they're walking, Papi. They're waddling. The Queens, they've begun their march across the map. We're going all in. We're cutting workers at 38. We spoke about this. I mean, to be fair, I did mention 3-base all-ins, but this is a 2-base all-in. Like, there's no saturation here at the third base whatsoever. This is a very early push from Dark. One Queen goes down. And here come the Roaches, here come the Ravagers, here come the Lings. We're flooding everything across the map. Dark trying to respond. I like the idea. This is a lair tech all-in. Sorry, this is a hatch tech all-in. There is no lair, so there's no detection, right? Like, there's no overseer to detect these DTs. But are they going to finish in time? That's the question. Are DTs going to be a factor here in this defense? They can be. Meanwhile, we do try to knock down that natural base. Dark Shrine almost halfway done. We do pull back to the Queens. One Oracle goes down, and we're out of energy. We are out of energy. The Ling Ravager heads towards the natural. We ignore the third base. Do you have a shield battery? Ravager's gonna be filing down. The Adepts gets around and they get shut down. The Adepts do fall, and now we can knock down the Cyber Core. Dark Shrine still on the way. Our Cyber Core is gonna fall. We have the overcharge release, but it's about to run out. More Oracles coming in. But the Oracles are falling one after the other, and Dark, he's breaking through. He busts on in. The Lings, they flood into the natural base. Stalkers is surrounded. The Dark Shrine is now done, but doesn't matter. Is it too little too late? DTs are warping in, but probes are falling left and right. Lings, they flood into the mineral line. DTs, they have work to do. They're going ham. But it may just be too much. The natural base has fallen, and from here we can bust into the main. We could even try to boil down the DTs themselves. Yeah, Lair is in production. Back at home, we're droning. Lings, they rotate around. They head towards the third. We ignore the main base, going for the third instead. Yeah, the Oracles, they can't do much here. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. A 2-base all-in by Dark. It was a hatch-based all-in as well, just cutting workers early on at 38 and just sending everything across the map. A very early all-in there out of Dark. It even caught me a bit off guard, but that's something you can afford, specifically on this map. We spoke about it earlier, but the rush distance by ground on Ghost River is very short, so these are the kind of all-ins that you can do on this map and not on many others. Even on Post Youth, which technically has a shorter rush distance, Post Youth is more defendable on 2 bases, so these kind of all-ins are ill-advised on Post Youth. Here on Ghost River, you embrace it, you embrace the all-in. GG. GG, well played. Dark does pop off, does bring down NightMare. NightMare, again, he was holding his own in Game 1. Like, Game 1 was more back and forth, and NightMare had his own moments in Game 1. Game 2, unfortunately, NightMare took a little bit too long to realize what was going on. I did appreciate the DT response, but again, it was just too late. It was just too late of a response just for how early the all-in was. By the time the DTs morphed in, everything was dead. Like, everything was already on fire. It was too late at that point. And with that, we're getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for the grand finals.